Hi, I'm Blair Wagner, and today I'm here with Clubhouse Media in support of United Way for their Women Who Rule campaign and video series. Today I'm sitting here with Mia Mance. I'm going to chat with her. Mia is a radio personality here in Savannah. She is the program director for G100, the Throwback Station, and she's also the public service director for DBC Radio. Hi, Mia.
Hi, Blair. I'm excited to hang out with you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first, for people to get to know you a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about what you do in these roles? You have many roles, so
What
in the
I
best
do.
way possible.
Well, first and foremost, it's really cool to hang out with a woman like you, and it's actually nice because instead of me interviewing, which is usually how people would know me via any one of our DBC radio stations in town, which are everything from Rewind 107.9 to Bob 106.9, G100, Rock 106.1. The Island. We have a brand new pop station too, Savannah's Hot 98.3, and I play a lot of roles. I'm a radio personality, I think, on 3 of those stations, which means I probably have a lot of personalities going on inside. But in addition, I am the director of G100, the Throwback Station, and the public service director for DBC Radio. So what does that mean? Program director. Program director basically means you oversee everything for the radio station, from everything of what you hear on air to what we do in our community. And as the public service director, that role really allows me to sit in the position of telling great stories. Like today we're at 24E and I had the opportunity to tell the story of Rural Joiner and how Rural went out and put new beds into the fresh air camp on Tybee Island to serve kids in need. And it's telling the stories of Savannians and doing great things like supporting the United Way and being able to tell the stories of women who rule, and being here to raise awareness about women and raise awareness about helping women in our community as well.
That's great. That was so beautifully worded. So just to backtrack a little, how did you get into the world of radio?
Oh, easy, because I wanted to be a singer and I don't have a good voice. But so I was obsessed with the radio. Music saved my life. I'm sure that there are many people who are here with us or who are watching who will know that there's great singers like Mariah Carey, you name it, who can bring you up and inspire you. And I also really loved that behind the scenes in radio, you could help people. And so as a kid, I loved it. I don't think I knew that I'd work in it. My degree is in communications and I focused on entertainment and sports and marketing. So I started on the sports side with Fox Sports, and I had plans to do other things. And actually, I'm from Atlanta originally. I got hired at a radio station in Atlanta, on a Saturday one day, and I've never left the business. And part of understanding what we do as radio people, it's not just being on the mic, but it is what we do in the community. And when I made this choice as a career, I saw that we could feed families at Thanksgiving. We could provide toys for people at Christmas. We could raise awareness about women's issues, raise awareness about helping kids. And that's actually why I fell in love with it. I didn't do it for money. I never thought I'd be sitting here being interviewed by anybody as cool as you, but just the power to help other people.
Yeah. So it seems that you're really connected to radio through this idea of community. So can you give some more examples of how you're using G100 and the radio to work with the community and United Way as well?
Sure. I think that G100 has always been the official station of Savannah Pride. So I think especially at the time that we're in when it comes to standing for human rights and equal rights and civil rights, that's just been a value, and understanding that we want to see the success of all Savannians. In addition, we were a station who led the Mute R. Kelly movement, and that movement was designed to protect girls and women and raise awareness about sexual assault and human trafficking and sexual abuse of women, and taking positions that say that we want to see, again, our community succeed, and getting involved with the United Way of the Coastal Empire right now. And I know that we'll get into talking about the Transportation Fund, but the United Way touches every part of our community, and the mission of Living United. We're in the most critical time where we need to be talking about living united, and in a time of a pandemic where the needs are higher than ever and funding could potentially be cut or is being cut, we want to know that as a community that we're here to support each other. And so my backstory, the United Way personally, for my mom received services from the United Way of the Coastal Empire. And at the time when that happened, I think we would be surprised who needs these services and who needs the care. If it's being served through the Deep Center or Shelter from the Rain, the Center for Blind and Low Vision, you would be amazed that every day men and women and children in our community just need a little help. And that was exactly my mom's case. And the United Way served to help stabilize her life. And I think that that's the mission. If you were to talk to anyone about the United Way of the Coastal Empire or the United Way all over America, it's just to see families and people successful. With us sitting here today, Blair, to bring awareness to Women United, who presents Women Who Rule every single year. Thank you to everyone who's allowing me to be here just to use my voice. But our focus is raising awareness about transportation and funding transportation for women. When I was a college student at University of Arizona, I was dependent on other people for rides. I didn't have a car. I took the bus from work to college every day, and I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for the help and the support of other people. And so when you look at investing in the United Way, look at what that can be. That can be someone getting to school, getting to work, going to pick their kids up, getting to their second or third job. So I take it very seriously to, again, stand up for people who stood up for me and stood up for my family and stand up for our amazing community. So, and you made me cry.
Yeah, no, honestly, you're going to make me emotional as well, because it's very crazy doing this interview because I can heavily relate to so much that you're saying. One, also I studied communications too. I did not have a car as well until the age of 23. So I definitely understand. I too had to deal with taking the bus every day, but if it wasn't for people that took the time to help out and give me rides when they could, help me with money to get to where I would not be where I am sitting on this couch interviewing you. I wouldn't have the experience I have. So what y'all are doing with United Way, the work that they're doing, something as simple as transportation that people don't generally think about, is so very, very important. And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that story. I can relate. I know. I understand.
And I think it's really important that people can see where we're at now, but you have to know someone's story.
You have to have that support system.
And that ability to know that people were thinking of me is the same thing that we're asking people. It's all about just understanding that when you make that donation at uwce.org, it reaches so far and so wide, and it super serves families so that one day those same boys or girls or men and women can also be here to tell their stories of how the United Way served them as well.
And while we're still on the topic of the Transportation Fund, can you go into a little more detail about the event that you have that's coming up?
Absolutely. So super duper thank you to Vaden Automotive Group. They are our driving sponsor of Women Who Rule 2020. And it's all about, there's a part of the United Way of the Coastal Empire, Women United. And this is all women who come together every single year to, one, tell the stories of women, to celebrate women in our community. And this has been going on for a long time. And this year it's going to be online, so it's new because usually we're all in a room together. But you'll hear amazing stories from Mayor Edna Jackson. You'll hear from Cecilia Rango. You'll hear her performing. You'll hear stories all week long about women who are just like you and I, who they have a story, they're here making a difference, and they're taking a stake in the success of Savannah. People can donate to this transportation fund at uwce.org. They can donate to the United Way at any time at uwce.org. And I think it's really important to acknowledge the dynamic women and men who make the magic happen at the United Way of the Coastal Empire every single day. Although I am lucky enough to get to sit here, there are thousands upon thousands of amazing people and donors who make our community successful. And I'm just proud that I have a chance to say thank you and to also be a part of supporting the United Way of the Coastal Empire into the future.
Absolutely. And then I just want to bring it back to you a little bit because, the campaign is Women Who Rule, and you are a woman, obviously, who rules. You juggle all these different roles, being a radio personality, program director, public service director. How do you find balance in all these roles? How do you juggle this? I know.
So meditation.
Lots of deep breaths.
I think it's really important, Blair, and this is for anyone, you have to know your why. So when you get up in the morning, you have to go, why am I making this decision? Why am I supporting? Why you can go on the G100Savannah.com website right now, and we have calls to get involved in standing up for justice and ending racism. You have to go, why am I doing what I'm doing? And how can I leave something better? How can I bring a voice to the voiceless? While you and I have this opportunity to talk, there are tons of people who are screaming and crying every day to be heard. And so it's really important that you look at your why and you go, is what I'm doing making things better? Am I being a part of creating things that will outlast me long when I'm no longer here and no longer in radio? Will someone be inspired to sit at the table? I think that's really important. As a woman in radio, I think it's under 15% of women across America do what I do as a program director. That number gets smaller as you go in higher levels of radio. And I think it's important to sit here and know that your voice and your story matter. I'm no different. I'm no better. It's just being willing. And it's sometimes you have to be a little bit noisier. And sometimes you have to ask and advocate. And it's totally okay. It's totally okay to take a stand. It's totally okay to encourage people to get involved in their community. It's totally okay to say you want to do better for others and challenge yourself to be that. So I think it's constantly having that conversation of why and how can I serve?
Yeah. What would you like to see in the future when it comes to women in radio?
Oh, so much. I'd like to see more women who are at the general manager and ownership parts of the table. I think personally, I do own my own company in addition to doing radio, and that was really important to be able to be an owner. I think if you do not own, someone could take your seat at the table away, unfortunately. And I think it's really important to take ownership into consideration when it comes to media, especially in the time of Me Too, especially in the time of raising awareness about Black Lives Matter, that people recognize their own power within themselves and that they're at the seat of owning. That's the real, if it's owning in Savannah, if it's owning in the digital space, if it's owning things across America, that you do have the power to do that and to take some power of your own life into your own hands as well.
Okay. And then for women that are looking to enter this field, what are some words of advice you would leave them with?
Do it for the love of it, not for the money. Have a thick skin. I think that anyone that would say who works in media, you definitely, anyone that's here with us today, you have to have a thick skin. And you have to work really, 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 really hard. And again, you have to know why you do it. And I hope that it's because you know that you have the power to make this city, to make our state, and make our country better.
Right. Well, great. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mia.
you.
Thanks
for
sharing
having
your
me.
story with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.